We did it. We did it, y'all. We were celebrating the New York Knicks clinching the NBA playoffs a few days ago. Then on top of that, the opportunity arrives that we could come back and take back the 4th seed after losing it, unfortunately, to that Laker game. And though it wasn't the best looking game, the Knicks did it. They were able to get home court advantage for the NBA playoffs. We saw so many articles at the beginning of the season from Vegas, from Bleacher Report, ESPN, NBA.com, talking about the Knicks being last place, close to last place. Hell, even people like myself, were believing that, the Knicks weren't going to win any more than 26, 27 games. I put 27 games for the Knicks this season. But we won 41 games of 72. Top 3 in NBA in defense. Top 3 in the NBA in 3-point percentage. Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Brock Aller, shout out to Ninja P, Scott Perry, so on and so forth. Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, Mike Woodson. This team did it. This was a magical season, and now we're going to continue to fight in the NBA playoffs and possibly make it to the second round. It's very possible. I'm not going to jump ahead of the opponents that we're going to talk about here today, but it's quite possible that this team can go on and not just be in the playoffs just for a good time. We can do some damage. I'm still trying to let it all sink in. It's surreal. It's surreal. The last time the Knicks were in the playoffs were in 2013, and that exit was ugly as it was. Here we are, man. I don't mean to be dramatic, but I'm really genuinely happy about the place we're in. I'm just proud of this team, man. The Big 15. It's real, bro. It's real. Anyways, let me quit the dramatics. Let's talk about the team that we're going to be facing in this first round, the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, we may have swept them, but we have to remember one of those 3 games we played was actually against this Atlanta Hawks team we're seeing right now. The other 2 games were with their previous coach and where they looked like they were a completely different team. And the same goes for us. We weren't the same scoring team. Hell, they were zoning us in those first 2 games. You can't zone us anymore. I don't know if you heard, but the New York Knicks can make the threes now. It's going to be a fun series. There's a ton of matchups that we could talk about in this, that, and the third. But let's make some predictions and let's see how we match up against the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA playoffs, the first round. I can't say it enough, y'all. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Crew? Your boy CK2K, and welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. Guys, this week and every week we stream 3 days a week over on Twitch, so make sure you go follow the Twitch page. We just finally got over 800 followers over on the Twitch. We're now on the hunt for 1,000 followers over on the Twitch channel, so if you haven't already, go follow the Twitch channel and also join the Discord, be a part of the conversation. I'm planning on doing videos that's incorporating Discord in the future. You guys are dropping a lot of dope art, a lot of funny memes, a lot of fun conversations going on in the Discord, so stay tuned for a lot of content that includes the Discord, but you got to be a part of the Discord to be a part of that content, so join the Discord. All right, the Knicks are up against the Atlanta Hawks this coming weekend, or next week, the 22nd. What's the 22nd? What's today's date? Where are we? Whatever. The Knicks are up against the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs next week, and I want to break down what our matchups look like against this team. Now, again, like I mentioned at the top, this team pulled a complete 180 after the firing of Lloyd Pierce. They brought in one of my favorite coaches in the NBA in Nate McMillan, and ever since he took the reins to this team has looked like the Hawks that a lot of people thought that they were going to get for the last few years. The Hawks are a deepish team. Now, the problem with them is their depth is young, which I'm sure in the future is going to be great for them, but for right now, their depth is young. They're looking at guys like DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Chris Dunn. A lot of these guys are coming off of their bench that are on the younger side. They do have some vets that have been helping them out and been a big part of what they've been doing so well in Solomon Hill, Clint Capella, Bogdan Bogdanovic, a lot of names across the board doing a lot of things. Our boy Danilo Gallinari. This team is a well-rounded team, but they are still a little bit more on the younger side. But at the same time, this team has been playing and executing really well. Their defense is not at the same level as us, but they are playing solid defense for a team that's centered around Trae Young, and that's saying a lot. Trae Young has been Trae Young this year. Clint Capella has played out of his mind this season. And I'm not talking about statistically having crazy 30-point nights. I'm talking about on the boards. He's had a lot of 20-20 nights. He's had a lot of, his rebounding percentages have been crazy, both on offense and defense. Clint Capella has been great defensively, blocking shots, protecting the rim. The Hawks are a scary team, and I'm not even mentioning Bogdan Bogdanovic, who is probably their third option, maybe their second option, but he's out there scoring the lights out ever since the coaching switch this season. So we have a lot of things that we need to be paying attention to, and like I said, they have the likes of guys like DeAndre Hunter and even Cam Reddish coming off their bench that are good for good nights, both on the offense and defensive side every single night in a long series where they're playing against one team. You can game plan for one team. So there's things that we do need to worry about. But with all that being said, I'm not entirely worried about it. To be completely real with you, I'm not entirely worried about it. I personally believe that the New York Knicks match up really well against this team. Now, mind you, yes, this team can get hot fast. They have a lot of things going for them where we are weak on the rebounding side. We really need to get our rebounding together if we're going to beat this team. We saw that in the last matchup before all the injuries took place, but rebounding, Clint Capella is just bounds ahead of the centers that we have. Nerlens Noel has been great for us this season, and hell, Nerlens Noel might be able to rein it in coming against Clint Capella in this series, but we just know that Clint Capella and just the Hawks team in general have been such a solid rebounding squad, where we've been rebounding by committee, and we need to be better and more consistent on the rebounding for our team. So with that being said, that's why Clint Capella is probably the guy I'm the most scared of in this series. Trae Young is Trae Young, but I feel like to an extent, if we run things the right way, if certain players get the right amount of situational minutes, certain players that is, and even if he doesn't, I still feel like we have enough to slow down, maybe not stop and halt, but slow down Trae Young in his first playoff series. Don't forget, this is Trae Young's first playoff series, so there's a very big possibility that he completely flops in here or completely thrives in it. Who knows which side you're going to get. But at the same time, I feel like the bigger fear are always the others in a lot of situations like this. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, Danilo Gallinari, and even John Collins. Those are the guys that we need to be paying attention to, but primarily, in my opinion, Clint Capella, because like I said, the rebounding is going to be key in this game. We must be prepared for the boards in this game, as well as the defending around the rim. No easy stuff around the rim. We have to be smart with our game, and luckily with us, our offense has picked up, and we are most likely going to be going into the playoffs with all of our players minus Mitchell Robinson, which is fine because we got all of our offensive guys. Alec Burks is going to be all hands on deck. Emmanuel Quickly, Derrick Rose, all the guys that we need offensively will be available for us, so we should hopefully be able to weather that storm. But outside of, like I said, Bogdan Bogdanovic and Clint Capella are probably the two key players that I'm focusing on in this series. I mean, look, with Bogdan Bogdanovic, this is the first year, and this is no shade to De'Aaron Fox, but this is the first year where he's playing on a team where all eyes are on an all-star point guard in Trae Young, so he is available for a lot more shots, and I feel like that was what helped him become such a prolific shooter this season. He's always had that trait. He's always been a shooter, but this year he's hit it at one of the highest clips of his career. I think a lot of that has to do with the presence that Trae Young brings on the court. Trae Young was garnering a lot of attention. Hell, Danilo Gallinari in the games that he played garnering attention. So it was opening up the floor a lot more for Bogdan Bogdanovic. So we have to be ready for that and always have a player on him. And I know it's probably not going to be the case, but this is why I believe that Frank Ntilikina should get a lot more minutes, at least in this first round, because I feel like there are ways that we can go around this. I feel like instead of throwing multiple bodies at Trae Young, you can ultimately already have one defensive body on Trae Young at all times, so we can then focus on having Reggie Bullock being on Bogdan Bogdanovic the entire time instead of wasting other bodies and being worried about screens and switching and stuff like that. We can have one-on-one in a lot of situations. Now, mind you, Trae Young, even though he's probably going to get stopped primarily by Frank Ntilikina, he's still going to get his when he needs to get his. We know that he's good at drawing fouls, he's good at flopping, he's good at excelling. Hopefully in this playoff setting, they won't give him to him at every situation, every chance he throws his body on the floor, but at the same time, we know he's going to get those because that's just what his game is. And on top of that, Trae Young is more than just a scorer. People forget that Trae Young is really good at setting up his teammates, a la Bogdan Bogdanovic and Danilo Gallinari, and even a guy like John Collins, that there's multiple facets to his game that you have to worry about, which is why I just hope, I don't know if it's going to happen, I know how this team runs, but at the same time I just hope that Frank Ntilikina does get more of a shot in this series, because I feel like that just helps us bring in so many problems that we're going to have when it comes to Trae Young, because I know that there might be situations where we might have to throw 2 bodies at him. I don't know how Elfrid Payton's going to do against a Trae Young. I don't know if he's magically going to turn on the switch where he's going to automatically all of a sudden start to care in the playoffs, and if that's the case, fine, but at the same time we really need to, like I said, we need to match up a lot better in this series, and I feel like Frank Ntilikina is the move when it comes to guarding a guy like Trae Young. And to be real, those are the real concerns I have. Bogdanovic, Trae Young, and Clint Capella. Those are the guys. The others are the ones I'm worried about. I think Trae Young is going to be Trae Young, or he won't be Trae Young. That's up to him. But my big concern is the others, and Bogdan and Clint Capella. Those are the guys we need to worry about defensively when it comes to this series. But now the other things we have to worry about are the Knicks' own mistakes. We saw in the last few games the Knicks would come out and we would play great basketball. It's crazy because the Knicks would make the same mistake in different ways. We'd either come out and we would start a game extremely slow to the point where they were playing catch up for the rest of the game, and we eventually do catch up and we win the game, or we start off extremely hot and have crazy leads like 15 plus, 14 points, 17-point leads, and then completely losing it to the point where we're playing survival mode in the fourth quarter. It's one or the other with the Knicks. There's never been a consistent, I mean, there's been a few games of it, but there's very rarely there's been a consistent stretch of basketball for the Knicks where if we have the lead, we're running with it. You know what I mean? But that's just not how we've been this season, and that's something that we desperately need to clean up in the playoffs. The playoffs don't promise you that you're going to get that opportunity to do this, be able to survive these kind of games. Yes, you get 7 chances to win 4 games, but at the same time, if you're playing this when you're never cleaning up your act in those 4 games, you can simply, just like in 2013, lose a game 1 or 2 at home, and then the rest of it you're playing catch up, trying to win games away, playing games in Atlanta. So the Knicks have to not get in their own way. We need to be consistent. And I can already see the chat. You guys can talk about, well, then don't play Elfrid Payton and don't do this, don't do that. And that may be true, but we have to deal with what we have to deal with what we got. Elfrid Payton's going to play, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to start in the playoffs. There's no way around it, and there's no way about it. And all we can do is hope that Elfrid Payton goes out there and gives us a solid 10 to 13 minutes or whatever amount of minutes that Tom Thibodeau gives him in these playoffs. We might see 15, 16 minutes of Elfrid Payton just because the rotations might be cut down a little bit. I would like to see Tom Thibodeau go and continue to run the rotations the way he did during the season, but in the playoffs, that's just not how it goes. We're going to be seeing RJ Barrett playing 40-plus minutes. We're going to be seeing Julius Randle playing 40-plus minutes. We're going to be seeing guys like either Reggie Bullock or Alec Burks playing 40-plus minutes. It's just how the cookie crumbles, and that's how it goes in the playoffs. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that when we go out there and we play consistent all the way through the game. That's huge for us. That's something that we really need to pay attention to. We also need to make sure that we continue to move the ball. Ball movement has been our best offense. Defense has been our best offense, but our second best offense has been ball movement. Whenever we make that extra pass, that has always been where we go on those long runs, because chemistry is huge. The minute one player makes an extra pass, another player sees that player making an extra pass and turning down an open shot for an even better open shot, it becomes contagious. And you see that the Knicks go on these runs when this happens, especially those kind of passes, those kind of made shots, get the guard going. It's just a whole trickle-down effect when we play with ball movement rather than an ISO game. Now, mind you, Julius Randle, I'm not telling you not to go and cook every now and then when you have the possessions. Go do what you got to do. Same goes to you, RJ Barrett. I feel like RJ Barrett last night was on a roll and he started to cook a little bit. I feel like we then went away from him, but we have those moments where they can do those kind of things. But when it comes down to going down the stretch, we need to be smart with how we do it. And also, we need to be more killers when it comes to these games. Don't give the game away. Just because we're up by a certain amount of points and there's still 12 minutes left in the game, go out there and act as if we are down by 5. So the Knicks need to solve their own problems as well as be ready for the Hawks. But with everything being mentioned, let it be known here, I feel extremely confident about us in this first round. I believe that this is a Knicks first round to win. I truly believe so, and I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think are the big keys and big takeaways that the Knicks are going to have to look into and prepare for with this first round with the Atlanta Hawks? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. We got videos coming all week. I'm excited. I got a fun Knicks story coming out for you guys this week. Be stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun week. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Do not forget to like this video, like I mentioned earlier. As much fun as we have right here and on all my channels on YouTube, like I said, all those links in the description below, we have a lot more fun live over on the Twitch channel. So make sure you go and join the Twitch. And don't think I forgot about you guys. We're going to do live streams here on the channel here, you know, the rebuild and stuff like that. We're just waiting for the off season for that. That's off season content, okay? So stay tuned for those. We still will do live streams here, but for the meantime, right now, every 3 days a week, we live stream over on Twitch, all right? Links are in the description below. Go join that. But it's been your boy CK. You know what it is. I'm ready for the playoff vibes next week. Let's have some fun this week. Let's enjoy the time. Let's watch other basketball games. Let's enjoy this week preparing for our first playoff since 2013. I'm hyped up about it. Y'all should be too. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Let's get it. I'm out of here. I'm hyped. I'm out of here. And peace.
Feeling like I won the lotto. Always taking trips with a new chick, asking where the time goes. And I wonder if this is all I'll know.